Greetings, everyone, all my fellow human design fans. My name's Trista, and I'm a 6'2" splenic ego manifestor and non-emotional, obviously from splenic. So tomorrow I will be entering into the 9th year of the human design experiment. And I just got this hit to, I don't know, do this video to kind of report on my own insights into my own experiment and what it means to be a manifestor. So I got my reading in 2010 with John Martin, and who's a 6'2" projector. And when I learned that I was a manifestor, and when I learned my chart and he gave me that reading, there was something in me that was like, fuck yeah, this feels so right. And I was thrilled. But at the same time, there was this like, oh shit. There was all this fear, and there still is, around what it means to step in to the power of my chart, really. And so when human design came across my path, I was 33 as a 6'2". It was like, the timing to climb up on my roof, and there was very much, it was this time of kind of retreating from the world and wondering what the fuck my life was about. I was living in LA, working in television as a reality TV editor, and just feeling very empty and feeling like there's got to be something deeper, there's got to be something more to life than just this. So, and at the same time, I was heading into really gnarly Pluto transit, which took me into the underworld and took me into this deep deconditioning and facing the void and facing all the numbness and just facing all the darkness that was inside. In my astrology chart, my Sun and my North Node and my Pluto are all within 1 degree of each other. My Pluto in my human design chart is in gate 48, and also my personality Sun is gate 48, line 6. So that transit was just like Pluto coming in and slamming me, slamming me with death. It felt like death. It just took me into this deep depression and chronic fatigue, and so many years of this has passed. So the first 3 years, human design was such a blessing because in a way, it initiated me onto this path of awakening, and it gave me hope that there was something more to life. It initiated me into spirituality. It was super useful because the mind, of course, needs and wants something to do, wants something to focus on, especially my mind and my chart is left, focused towards the left. So when I have a mental focus, it really helps me relax. So human design, so it was just, something that actually probably kept me alive, because I would listen to Ra and I heard such truth coming through him, and he was the only person that was making any sense. Everything else in the world, literally, I shut everything out. Within a year of learning about human design, I moved to Kauai and just got the fuck away from society and everything and all the conditioning that I knew I was so bogged down by. And I just started to denumb, de-thaw, and kind of try to figure out what the fuck went wrong. And through that time, I just listened to Ra Uru Hu and a couple other teachers. I just, whatever I could get my hands on, I listened to. And if when you get initiated into human design, it's like, when it hits, it's like, whoa, this is so cool. And you just want to know everything about yourself and everything about others. And it's very mental. It's very like intellectual, and it's fascinating, and it's so accurate. It's like, wow, amazing. And so I ran into this other teacher by reading a book called Spiritual Enlightenment: The Damnedest Thing by Jed McKenna, and it was my first book I read, recommended by John Martin, that gave me an idea of what it is to be awake, about what reality is. And I looked for the author of that book, and someone online said it might be Adyashanti. So Adyashanti was also my next teacher, and he actually made sense. So he was speaking from the non-dual perspective about the same thing, which I felt human design and what Adya was speaking about were very, very similar. So, and I got into gene keys also, and just dove really deeply into especially my primary gifts, and felt that that was such a powerful activation for something in my DNA to recognize the potential of my design here. And of course, with my design, with the open G center and the open head and ajna, there was a satiation of those centers, of feeling like human design was my new purpose, that I was going to learn all about it and then teach others and help others through it. And then also it helped answer questions for me, and it helped fix other people's problems. And so the beautiful thing about it, though, was it showed me kind of how to bring in awareness of where my conditioning is, what I'm not. And I'm going to be the first to admit that even after 9 years of being in the deconditioning process, it still feels like I'm a condition generator a lot. And honestly, for the last, I guess it was like 4 or 5 years, slowly what came in more strongly was Ramana Maharishi and Adyashanti and Muji and these teachings, which just ring true to my heart of pure truth, of the highest possibility in a human life, to realize you're not your identity at all. In fact, we are eternal awareness that's been with us from the beginning of time and will be with us when this body drops away. And to know that, it became very clear that there was a necessity to drop all concepts, to drop all ideas and information about who I thought I was, which included human design. So, once you know your chart, you can't fully let go of it. It's always there. But to base your reality, to base what's true, or actually what's true in this moment, has no labels or concepts to it. So as soon as I move out into I am a 6-2 manifestor, it's a step away, honestly, from reality. And I'm not going to say that I'm awakened at all. There's so much more clearing out to do. But I have had tastes. I've had really deep tastes of what's possible and who I really am. And to live in that place, you're not a 6-2 man. I'm not a 6-2 manifestor. I'm not a generator. I'm not anything. I'm free awareness and not knowing anything. And each moment is spontaneous. And what always has felt like the highest possibility is once we know who we really are and all of the conditioning has been cleared out and the beloved is free to move us fluidly without any resistance in the way from our conditioning, then that's when we fully step into our charts. But we aren't thinking about it like that. We're not thinking about, am I moving as a not self or not? It's just the beloved moving itself. And you're watching the play like we're the passengers. So we're just the passengers. We're not also an independent character that's making choices. So there's just been a long period of just letting it go, letting astrology fall away, and just getting really, really quiet and just going inside and just, the thing is that it's taken this long to really even start feeling what it means to feel my heart and what it means to hear my intuition and to, this time right now. And the reason I'm kind of back revisiting human design is because I was just in India on a 3-week retreat with my teacher David G, just going really deep in and burning at the foot of Arunachala mountain, burning everything away that's not me, and meeting all this early childhood daddy stuff and just sitting still while all of this shit comes forth and burns and burns and burns. And and not talking to anybody really, just, and I'm with my partner there. But the point is, like, so there's this 3-week retreat, and then I stayed at a beautiful place with one family there, and I hadn't spoken to them the whole time. And I hadn't really spoken to very many people, and I don't speak to that many people. And I haven't spoken to anybody about human design in a long, long time. And boom, like 30 minutes before I'm leaving to go to the airport, I run into this, the couple that was staying there, and it's a younger couple, and we find out right away that we're both into human design. And she says, oh, I've been in it for 9 years. And he says, oh, I'm a 5-1 manifester. And she says, oh, I'm a 3-5 manifesting generator. And that's what my boyfriend is. And I'm a manifestor. And they said it's helped our relationship a lot. And they were just really into it. So like this excitement came, and like sure enough, my chart came out, and she was looking at it, and her name's Vera. I'll put her name at the bottom because she was a very stellar analyst, someone who I could feel after the reading she had really dove deep into her own design and also was bringing the message forth from something other than her mind. It felt very powerful. It felt like a reinitiation. And all over again, she says these things, and there's something in me that's like, fuck, I know that's me. And oh shit, what does that mean? Because what the things that scare me in my chart are this ego center, this like, it's like arrogance, and there's been such a fear of being arrogant. There's been a lot of humbling, realizing I don't know anything. Honestly, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. So a lot of letting go and a lot of humbling, and yet sometimes there's this, this heart feeling of like, just speak, and it's been a little confusing, but she said, don't be afraid of having that ego. Don't be afraid of speaking from the ego. And even if there's anger involved, don't be afraid of that either, because it's who you are, and it's here to help kind of like harmonize the frequency of your environment. But anyways, it just reignited something in me, and there's just out of everything, it's like not the knowledge that I care about, but it's this feeling that I want to be true to my heart, and I want to know what that feels like. What is thy will? What is that clarity of thy will be done? What does that feel like in me? And I think all the clearing out and all of the, solo time has made me able to hear that more. And the next level is to have the courage to follow that and let go of every mental conditioning around shoulds and have tos. And that is, I tell you, conditioning is so heavy to be a generator, to be in response. And yeah, I still feel it really strongly. And yet there's something that is like, no more. I can't live like a generator anymore. One of the things that Vera said was, the reason I'm fatigued is because I'm not living as myself. And that, it did ring true. There's a lot more complexity to it because the awakening process is a process. And there's some very, very heavy karma and trauma that is caused the conditioning. And so that clearing out is a process, and it takes time. And the beautiful thing that has been discovered is, the innocence of the mind, and how I am not the chooser of the mechanics of conditioning. It's just playing itself out, and it's just cycling over and over and over again. So that I can see the mechanics of it. I can feel into where everything is coming from, and I can fall deeper and deeper into myself, my true self, beyond labels and identities, beyond my human design, beyond my astrology, beyond my Enneagram. So it's really beautiful to know, what our conditioning is, to have an awareness around when that's playing out, when we're not in alignment with our true frequency. It's very useful to a certain point. And, I just got to a certain point a couple years ago, last year, where I had read all the books, I had studied all the systems. More importantly, I had read enough books, and I had watched enough YouTubes of spiritual teachers. And it was just like, okay, I know what I need to do. It's just about diving into the silence, diving into the stillness, and letting go of every idea, position, and concept about who you are and what life is. And expanding, letting the awareness just open up and dropping the awareness down to the heart. And that's where the beingness lives. And that's where we discover we don't have an identity. There's no identity in the spaciousness that's always here. But to feel the aliveness of this space that I feel right now, it's taken a hell of a lot of deconditioning and a hell of a lot of going in to the stillness and burning through all of the stuck emotions and all of the, really, if you look at my emotional center, it's probably mostly that. Like everybody else's insane emotions. And, that 48-6, just diving in to the depth of human suffering, going very deep into a dark night of the soul, being stripped away of everything because of the fatigue and the depression. There's just nowhere to run. There's nothing to ease the pain. Nothing like, sometimes coffee would make me feel better, but I was just in this space of like, either you die, either you kill yourself, or you just have to be with this. And it was absolutely brutal. I mean, I don't think a lot of people could have survived what the beloved took me through to strip me down of everything and make me so hungry for truth, so hungry for home, that I'm willing to do anything and willing to surrender to the intensity of my design, all the open centers and, all this Scorpio energy and honestly, the story doesn't even matter anymore. I just know that like this is an unwinding process. There's the awakening process is like a life review process where you unwind and start taking away your protective layers of the heart and start feeling more and more of what your little innocent child self couldn't feel at the moment of the blow when it happened. And so I've been feeling very young, very like 3 or 4 years old, a lot, just like, wow, so tender, so vulnerable. One of the things I wanted to say was just how intense it is to have a chart like a manifestor in a generator world, and how lucky you are if you can come into the full expression of your chart, not feeling like you're separate. And that's when, I think it's one area people get a little bit mental about, is that as a manifestor, I'm at 8% of the population, I'm a lone wolf, and I have a repelling aura, all of these separating labels that separate us from other people. And that's not true. We're not separate. We're part of the Maya. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to share a little bit about my process. And really, if you're into human design, you could just look at my chart and hear me speak and feel my chart come to life, I guess. Or just see, I've got that channel 2057, the penetrating awareness. And it's all about speaking my experience right now from the stillness. And that's still very much a practice, but I can feel the truth of that. It's just about sharing what's alive now. And what's alive right now is my heart and myself. I'm barely aware of Trista speaking. I just want to live here. I want to live in myself here. And forget about concepts and all that. And really, that's where this journey is taking us, is to the truth of who we are, which is beyond the Maya. It's like graduating to another grade level. Most people are running around as children stuck in adult bodies, myself included in that. Frozen children stuck in adult bodies, operating out of conditioning. But when you enter into this experiment and you start deconditioning, then it's painful. You relive all your childhood shit, but you begin to rest in that which is aware of everything and that which is aware of the program of the Maya. And there's peace there. There's love there. And the more we rest in that space, letting go of everything known, letting go of all future and past, letting go of every idea of who we are, then the more it comes alive, the more the beauty comes alive and the love. And this is the promise. This is the promised land. This is what the masters are pointing to for us. And so, human design is a beautiful tool to begin the awakening journey. But at some point, it must be let go of to truly live as yourself. And live outside of the dream. Everything must be let go. Gosh, that was long, and I have no idea who's going to watch this, but here I am just sharing. 6-2 Manifestor. Talking about stuff. So maybe you're a 6-2 Manifestor, and if that's the case, then you've had your own wild and crazy journey. You know what? If you're watching this and you're not a Manifestor, everyone's had a wild and crazy journey these past few years especially, and if you're still alive, congratulations. Yeah, have a great journey. And thanks for watching. Lots of love.